Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up? What's up? We're back with another edition of the Tigers Untapped. Tej, how was your weekend?
It's just weekend, man. Getting really excited for the work week, you know?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't actually remember anything that I did. Nothing stands out.
He's got that dad brain.
So true, dude. That is an understatement. Oh, that one hurt.
Well, it was my birthday, so I had a great weekend. Thanks for asking, TJ.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you were out of town, though.
Happy birthday to you.
Kenny, you want to guess how old I am?
24.
Yeah, for those of you at home, for the longest time, Kenny thought that TJ and I were like fresh out of college. No, I am plus.
Can I tell the story about how I found out that you weren't fresh out of college?
Plus 9.
I'd be curious.
Plus 9 to that.
We were
Kenny.
standing outside the facility, and we were talking about something that happened historically in Tiger athletics. And Trey was like, I was at my girlfriend's house when this happened. And I was like, when you were 4, you had a girlfriend? Your parents let you go over to your girlfriend's house at the age of 4? And he was like, you were like, how old do you think I am?
Yeah, I was like 18 at the time.
So you're 14 years older than what I thought you were.
Yeah. But hey, take your 24, add 9. That's from the year of Larry Bird for me.
Hey, bro, happy birthday, man, for real.
You're getting old, dude.
I know.
So old.
Yeah, so old. Anyway, good weekend. We are less than 3 weeks away from college football, TJ. Well, Memphis football. We are less than 2 weeks away from collegiate football because he's got the Under Armour on over there. TJ's Fighting Irish kickoff in week 0. Next Saturday, a week from Saturday. In Dublin, right? Against Navy?
It is in Dublin. I don't know if they're necessarily my Fighting Irish. I can't say the last time I've watched more than 3 games in a season. Like, I've just been so...
That's 3 more
I'm
Fighting
striped
Irish
up,
games
brother.
than me.
Well, you're too busy
all in.
hanging out with Auburn and
I haven't.
Arkansas.
No.
This guy.
No.
Just traveling to other games all the time.
TJ, can I bring something up real quick?
Yeah, what's up,
from
man?
last week? I know Trey was having a rough week last week, so we kind of let this go. But this man straight up said that he was going to be a Florida State fan next year. Did anybody else catch that and freak out?
I kind of heard some of it. We are so off topic right now.
We are the number 1 college football podcast in Memphis.
Yeah.
We're talking college football.
45 minutes into it. No one has any clue what we're drinking. I've already crushed half this beer.
Okay, tell the people what we're drinking first. We'll get back to you, Kenny.
This is Ghost River AquaMane, and it's an IPA. And I think this is the Steven Adams nod, right? We can just go ahead and openly agree to that. This is for Steven
sure.
Adams. I mean, we can't go too much into detail yet. It's not that time. But the Steven Adams beer, kind of cool.
It is cool.
Sorry, yes, you're a Florida State fan now? They're coming.
Not yet. I just said the possibility was there when I make the trek down to Tallahassee next year.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. The fanfare is going to be incredible when you go.
I'm going decked out in blue. I'm going to be a Tiger supporter. That was more around realignment, and if we get left behind, I'm going to have like a team that's got a legitimate shot, you know? Why not root for Norvell?
That's true. I do support Norvell, so I kind of watched some of their games, not a lot of them.
I mean, look, the reality of it is it's not going to be possible. I've tried to be a fan of multiple professional teams, other sports teams, soccer teams. It just doesn't, when they lose, it doesn't sting like it does when Memphis loses. Ask my wife. It ruins whatever we're doing.
You have to ask your wife. I know firsthand.
TJ has experienced it.
We are 2 different types of fans, right? I am a robot. I can turn things off. Memphis loses, I'm mad in the moment, and then I'm like, whatever.
Except for that FAU game, it affected you.
Yes, that was a little bit different.
We have confirmation from TJ's wife, Miss Willis, that he woke up in the middle of the night and said, how the F did we lose that game?
It was like 2 a.m.
And then went back to sleep.
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m.
That is not TJ that's not him normally.
Trey enters downward spiral. The night is ruined. The next day is ruined. It is a
It's bad.
It is a string of
legitimately,
days.
my trip to Disney World last year was ruined by the East Carolina loss. We talked about it.
I'm tired of losing to those nerds too, by the way.
I know, in overtime, constantly. Sheesh.
What's on the docket today? What we got?
Well, we're just under 3 weeks away. We're going to run through our early season projection. We're going to go game by game, give our projection on where we think they're going to stand. TJ, we got a special guest on today.
We do.
In segment 2, none other than head old ball coach Ryan Silverfield himself is joining the program.
Yeah.
And we're going to teleport ourselves to the facility and have a chat with old coach, and then we'll be back here and close things out.
We're going to have to change it up with the beer. I don't think we can take the beer on campus.
Yeah, it's a dry campus, so we're going to have to do like a sparkling water or something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
We'll do it. All right, you want to jump into the sketch?
Yeah, let me pull it up.
September 2nd, opening up with Bethune-Cookman. This is our first meeting ever. They were supposed to have Ed Reed as the football coach, which was kind of exciting,
Yeah, that
especially
was
for our
kinda
buddy John, big Miami guy. Loved Ed Reed. I don't even really know what they didn't have money. He wanted money for guys and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I think he wanted them to sink
He
money
just
into
wanted
the program.
to get some funds, and they're like, we don't
Yeah.
have it. And he's like, okay, well, then you don't got me. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations like, hey, man, we have 4 45-pound dumbbells for the whole weight room. Like, help me out. And they're like, no, we don't have it. And so he's like,
I'm out. See.
yeah, man.
That's unfortunate. We have never faced off. We've won 10 straight against our FCS opponents, 8-2 against the spread in those. How are you not 10-0 against the spread in those? Including that 51-0 win over North Alabama last year. Bethune-Cookman was just 2-9 last year. They had a 70-13 loss to Miami. It was the only FBS game they played. TJ, I mean, this is going to be it should be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it should be, is the answer there. Who did we play a couple of years ago? Was it Southern?
Yeah. Oh, it was a Heat game.
Well, yeah, and I remember their band was badass.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like into the whole band scene, but they were very good. Like you felt them from across the stadium. It was kind of wild. That game was a 55-24 finish with the Tigers winning.
Yeah, that's gross. Needs to be worse than that.
No, I mean, that's a pretty big blowout if you think about it, because I'm assuming Southern probably just put up 1 touchdown a quarter kind of situation. Well,
No, I remember that game. They started out
but-
pretty strong. They were running a little bit of a QB read stuff, I think. Kept getting pickup chunk yardage on us. I'm going big win here. Tej, want to know Tigers start the year off right?
Yeah. Are you trying to guess the score? You getting a win?
We'll do score when we get game weeks.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's going to be a win for
But
sure.
I mean, that's going to be like we'll go like 63-7. I told you I wasn't going to give you a score, but I'll give you one.
You getting one. Do you know where Bethune-Cookman is, by the way?
Somebody asked me this the other day, and no, I don't. My guess was Georgia, but I don't. Or is it Louisiana?
No, it is in Dayton Beach, Florida. Daytona Beach. What did I say? Dayton Beach. Daytona Beach.
Did not know that.
I had no clue what state they were in. Literally no idea.
Learn something new every day.
It could have been $1 million on the line. You couldn't have paid me to know where that was.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, I probably would have never guessed Daytona Beach or Dayton Beach, Florida, for that matter.
Kenny, did you know?
I did not know.
Yeah, no one knows.
I don't even know what their mascot is.
Wildcat, I believe. I believe. Don't hold me to that.
So Tigers versus Wildcats.
You're on a roll tonight, TJ. Wildcats.
Wildcats. Yeah. All right, next.
All right, we roll into week 2, September the 9th. Head over to Jones Boogie for the old Painted Bucket Bowl with the Arkansas State Red Wolves. We've won 5 of the last 7, including 4 straight, but we haven't covered in the last 3. If you remember the last time we were down there at Jones Boogie, that was the 55-50 barn burner with over like almost 1,400 combined yards put up. Just an absolute track meet of a ball game. I feel like we never beat Arkansas State like we should. It's always a closer game than it needs to be, but like you got to go to Jonesboro and let's pull one out by 2 tutties at least.
Yeah, that'd be real nice because they are a team that we, for some reason, struggle with. And I don't know if it's because they think that we're a rivalry.
It's a little bit of that like little brother, big brother thing.
Yeah. And I will say, for what it's worth, they're not a team that is out there just recruiting. They're pulling guys in for second chance from P5s and things like that. So, like, it's not due to a lack of talent. Like, they have talent. Like, you go look at their roster, pretty much everyone who is expected to start is a transfer, someone who's transferring in. So it's not like, you know, they just got some 2-star from Forest City starting at quarterback or someone like that.
Look at TJ's Arkansas City knowledge.
Look, I don't like to flex on it, but, you know, I got it. Little Ravenden, excuse me. Ravenden.
Yeah, Ravenden.
You know what I'm talking about. No, that's a win. I still think the Tigers pull it out. Like, I am so confident in this roster. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but, like, I think everyone they have is simpatico, which is, like, the weirdest way to say it. I just think they're going to gel so well together.
Do you?
Yeah.
Seth agrees with you.
No,
He said the other day he thinks this is the best talented roster that they've had since he's been.
Best talent.
That's what he said. That's a direct quote. Most best talented.
I respect that.
That's not what he said. Joe Skates also said that they got something special brewing over there. He's excited for the city to see it. So we both got him starting off 2-0. All right, September 14th, short week, Thursday home matchup with Navy. We won 4 straight in the series, 3-1 against the spread in that time. We haven't lost at home since, TJ, to Navy.
2017?
No, we only lost 1 game in 2017. UCF on the road. Speaking of Disney trips being ruined by Tiger football, that was another Disney trip. I've been to Disney twice as an adult. Both times we've lost the game. I went to that game, and their stadium is trash. The bounce house is not cool. It's because it's structurally not sound, and it literally shakes and it's a glorified high school stadium, and it's a lightning rod. There was lightning there, and we had to get 50 miles away from the stadium so that we didn't get struck.
They're actually suing the company that built that.
They should. It is bad.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but they're going to sue the company because of that. Like iron, like the aluminum that they built it with is basically like snapping in places.
It's absurd. 15 Fuente year. You know, that big old matchup. They had Keenan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. I do.
We had just gotten ranked. We were undefeated, just gotten ranked the highest ever G5 in it was second year of the college football playoff. We were like 13th in the country. So I haven't lost at home since 2015. I think it's a win. They got a new first-year head coach, Ken Nakalopoulos. I can't say it.
Niamatololo.
He's out of here. What?
It's not that hard. Niamatololo.
It's not after I hear you say it, but off the brim, it's...
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they moved up Brian Newberry, the defensive coordinator. Has been there.
Is he sticking with the triple option?
If you're going to get away from it, now's the time because you don't have a quarterback worth a damn.
I think they stick with it, though.
They probably will.
I don't know how you go away from it. I mean, that's Navy football.
Yeah, it's you got to think like it's the Naval Academy. You can't have 300-pound linemen out there. Yeah. Like all the linemen are like 250, 260 and just hella conditioned.
I hate the cut block more than anything in the world. I know there's people out there that are scared of the triple option. They're scared of Navy, and I'm just not. I think we make it 5 in a row. Win at home on a short week, and Tiggs moved to 3-0 on the year.
Yeah, it's going to be a win for me too. Mostly, I just really like the D-line this year, and I think that is if you have a sound defensive line versus the triple option, I think you have a really good chance. So I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
and here we go. These next 3 games.
Oh, this is going to be the gauntlet. These 3 games are this 4 week. Kenny, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea what you were talking about.
I was like, does the dude just now start recording at 45 minutes later?
Here we go.
After Navy, you got a September 23rd matchup with Missouri. Don't even want to talk about the location. In St. Louis is supposed to be neutral site. That's complete BS, but whatever. We'll take your check and then beat you. First meeting since 18. I was at that ball game. Not a pretty game at all.
No.
We lost 100-35, I think, was the final score.
Yeah. That was the Alberto game, dude.
Oh, yeah. Just streaking down.
That's a name I can't say.
just streaking down the middle of the field all game long.
The same play over and over and over again.
It was absurd.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know too much about Missouri. You know, I've kind of looked at it, looked at the roster, like kind of looking at what they're going to have. I'm not that impressed. And this isn't anything shocking. Like, they're not, you know, notably a very good football team, right? I'm not saying anything that's super shocking and newsworthy, but I just don't know, man. Like, it's kind of a toss-up just due to the fact that I'm worried where this game falls on the schedule, that perhaps some guys will be kind of overlooking the Missouri game and looking ahead to the next week. Because, you know, that we, as Kenny said, here we go, like that next stretch of games. Like, I'm worried they may be looking forward.
I don't know. Tough for me to overlook an SEC opponent.
Sure. I get that.
I don't think Missouri's world beaters by any means. They're going to finish bottom half of the SEC probably. I too don't really like the spot that we're in. It's going to be basically a Missouri road game or a road game for us in Missouri. Yeah, Missouri home game. I think they are very beatable. This could be a very winnable game. I really want to say that we win. So I'm going to say that we win.
Okay.
In a barn burner, though. I'm talking like a
60 to 66? Like,
no, not. I'm just like a 45,
okay.
41.
I will say we drop this one just due to the fact that I think I could trade it off with one of the next two games. One of the next three. I think it's going to be a loss. So there's going to be a little bit of trade off.
Realistically, if you can go through Missouri, Boise State, and Tulane at 2-1, I think you set yourself up really nicely.
If you go through 3-0, then you're just
3-0.
Go ahead and put me in the college football playoff.
Yeah, we're going to freaking Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a loss. I will say probably a relatively close one. Maybe one like Tulane last year. One where we got behind because of stupid tip passes, stupid punt fumble.
Yeah.
And then you kind of clawed your way back, but maybe they were able to just
fell up a little short.
Yeah, you come on. It looks a lot closer than it really was, kind of thing.
See that. All right, so I'm at 4-0.
Yeah.
TJ's at 3-1. Move on to the end of September, your 5th September game, Boise State at home. We've never met. So first meeting there. Our first matchup with the Mountain West Conference since Utah State win last year in the First Responders Bowl.
Well,
this is going to be a tough game.
yeah.
We'll see where we're at. I think FPI has us as a slight favorite in this game. And to be fair, since 2014, we are 19-1 in non-conference home games. We protect that home turf.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think this is a good game.
You know what that one loss in the non-conference home game is?
One loss in a non-conference home game.
They're now
UTSA.
Yep. I was going to say, to give you a hint, they're now a conference.
I just had to think back on the schedule who we played.
That's unfortunate because it really shouldn't have been a loss. We should be 20-0 since 2014.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you.
A lot of people are picking Boise to be the G5 Access Bowl slot.
Yeah. I think that they're projected to win the Mountain West, so that makes sense. I mean, depending on what you think of the American in general, I mean, you got to think out of the last 5 American champions, outside of Memphis in 2019 and Tulane last year, they're all gone. So it's not like you're going to have many options to repeat.
Yeah.
These are going to be Tulane repeating, Memphis winning again, or someone new.
This one's tough. I want to say we have a letdown game here. Lose to Boise at home, which I hate. I want to protect home turf. But I think we moved to 19 and, 20-2 non-conference.
I'm going to go that way. I think this is a win.
Okay, so we're flip-flop Missouri,
Yeah.
Boise State. We're both at 4-1, though. Heading into a bye, which is huge. before an October 13th matchup, Friday night, October the 13th on Friday against the defending Cotton Bowl champions and American Conference champions, the Tulane in the membrane, Green Wave. We won 11 straight in this series, but we're 2-3 in the last 5. We've kind of alternated the last several times. The home team is winning the matchup, so I'm going to give us the edge and say we pull this one out. Move to 5-1 off a bye week.
I will say we've said our piece on Michael Pratt and what we think about Michael Pratt. I think this team relied so heavily on Tajay Spears last year, and he's gone. And it's not like that's someone you can just replace, right? You can't just have a next guy up and replace a Tajay Spears. It's same thing with Kenny, same thing with any of the running backs, honestly. Henderson, it's just so hard to replace that guy specifically.
I mean, we did it. Kenny literally replaced Henderson.
Kinda.
Okay.
Kinda.
TJ.
That's a very rare occurrence, though.
It is. I'm just saying
Especially
as rare as it is, we did it.
I know, especially at this level of football, right? If you're at Alabama and you have Mark Ingram and then it turns right into another version of Mark Ingram, whatever, right? You're pulling in 5 stars one after the other. I think it's so tough to do at this level, and they relied on his running game and the strength of the offensive line so much to kind of open up maybe some of the passing plays downfield and things like that, that now that he's gone, I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to have to rely on the receivers more. They've lost some guys there, lost a couple of defenders. I just don't.
They're going to rely on Pratt's legs more.
They're going to have to. I mean, he's still a freak, right? Let's not give him what he is an athlete.
He's athletic.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He can scramble, he can run, he can make big plays.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that they could win. I just at home, we're not losing to Tulane at home.
Yeah.
We're just
Tulane in the memory. So we're both at 5-1.
What was the year? When's the last time we lost to them?
At home?
Yeah.
Oh, you put me on the spot. I knew it the other day. We haven't lost to him since
the 80s?
No, it was like 98.
98. So Kenny was like 22 then?
Yeah. He didn't hear you. All right. Fresh off of a Tulane victory, the Battle of the Bones is back. October 21st. I'm trying to work in a family beach trip around this ball game so I can get to it. I want to get down there to that new stadium. And I want to watch us beat the dog do at a Trent Dilfer's UAB Blazers and get that Battle of the Bone. They better be polishing that thing up because it's coming home.
What'd y'all think about their jerseys?
They look like South Florida to me. They look like so much like South Florida.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like
that neon green.
Yeah, it's just I don't like it when Oregon does it. I don't like it when anybody does it.
That black one was sick though.
They had a black one?
The black one, the end. They have 4 of them.
I stopped looking at all of them and they were just gross.
I'm gonna be honest, the dragon doesn't spit out red flames. Okay, I saw that one. That one has like the neon green. I don't love it, dude.
Turn your screen. Let me see.
Let me kind of blow it up a little bit. It looks like the Jets.
No, that's disgusting.
They've got that little
the lettering. They deserve to be beat 55-0 wearing this.
Yeah, I just don't like the neon green. That feels so USF to me.
And it's an awful font. The number looks dumb. That's a
Kenny likes them. Sorry, Kenny, we're hurting your feelings.
Yeah, I mean those are horrible.
They're not good.
I ain't worried about it.
They're not good.
Those are really bad.
And it's crazy too because they rolled out that video. Like, look how good we look. Look at the video. Look how good they look. They're not good.
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. We literally have probably the best uniforms.
I think they could spice them up a little bit this year. I think they could change it up a little bit.
They could. I wouldn't mind something new.
The tiger stripes are good, right?
They are good.
They've had that same tiger stripe uniform,
but the stripes on the helmet are new.
They're more authentic. Change those in like 2019 or 2020. I can't remember. But I feel like this is the same uniform going back to 2016, 2017. 2017 maybe.
We could use a little revamp.
I'd say
maybe there's something on the maybe they're doing something with it.
I want a Memphis State uniform.
I would love a throwback.
I want that like bouncy.
We did the throwback helmet decal for
the bouncy pouncer.
I don't remember what game that was. Was it like Kansas or something? We did it one year. And it was dope.
I thought y'all weren't fans of the old Tiger.
Oh, no. What do you mean?
What old Tiger?
The old Tiger logo, the orange one, the one that y'all don't like.
Oh,
No.
not
We
the
want older than
Yeah, I'm
that,
talking
man.
old.
Oh, got you.
I call it bouncy pouncer. I don't know. It's actually a name.
Cartoony one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a legit one.
Yeah. I'm talking like.
I got them on a shirt or a hat. Or
Yeah, I
something.
have it on a shirt as well. I'm sure Tiger Jeb would be so mad if he saw us trying to Google this and try to figure it out. Someone who's been around for a little bit. But it's that cartoony looking pouncer with the curly tail.
Yeah,
I
he's got a
can't
little
find
ticker in him.
Yeah, man. I like that one. Going back to UAB, I just don't think they're that good. I'm going to be honest. Like, I know that Dilfer's trying to put out as much as he can about them, hype them up. They lost Bill Clark. They lost their defensive coordinator. Like, I have no faith in them. I'm sure they could become something, right? Dilfer has so many connections with the Elite 11. All he's got to do is pull in one of those good quarterbacks. I don't know how the heck you're going to do it, but you pull in one of those good quarterbacks, things could turn around, but it ain't happening this year. Especially not in neon green.
We're both true that. Both at 6-1. You come from Birmingham. You're heading down to Denton, Seth's hometown, to take on North Texas on the 28th of October. Obviously, we beat the Mean Green here last year in a non-conference game, but this year we're now a conference matchup.
Sure.
I feel like this is a win.
Yeah, new coach, new quarterback. There's just kind of a lot going on there. Like, I don't know. Anytime there's a coaching change, I just never know what to expect necessarily. So I'm like, okay, well, do they have a quarterback they can rely on? They brought in a transfer quarterback. It's not Austinani. And
Although he is still playing. No. Did he?
No.
He declared for the draft.
I think he went to the draft, yeah. So they pulled in a quarterback from Southern Miss, which I'm assuming he also beat out. So this is at least the second quarterback from Denton, Texas to beat out Grant Cannell for a starting job. Maybe not. Maybe Grant transferred beforehand. I don't know. But it's just getting too much of a conspiracy at this point.
So what you got? It was win or loss?
It's a win, yeah.
Is it?
What?
You do have it a win?
It's a win, yeah.
Interesting. I don't think you've always had it a win.
Oh, no, I think that we've struggled with them in years past for whatever reason, but
Okay.
new coach.
So
I'm
we're both at 7-1.
It's so unrealistic. I gotta go back and change something.
Well, it's too late now. You
I
can't
know.
change anything because we're headed down to Tampa. USF's coming off a bye heading into this November 4th at Tampa. First meeting since 2020. We won at the end of the game. What was that? A Calvin Austin catch in the corner of the end zone, right there on the edge to seal the victory. Yeah, with a minute 3 left, 34-31 win.
I mean, I think South Florida can be something special. I like their coach,
You are a fan of
Alex Golish.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's good.
You wanted us to
If there was an opening, I wanted them to consider him. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's good. I think he has worked with some smart minds and really put something together. Jerry Bohannon, I think, is still the quarterback there and likely going to start. That's someone Tiger fans should be familiar with. We recruited him. There was a chance we had him. I think he came down to the final 3 between Baylor, us, and someone else, but he ended up going to USF, and he's good. Statistically, he has not looked good, and I don't know if that's because he has a poor cast around him or what, but I think it's going to be a win. I just don't see South Florida rebounding this quickly, even if they do have a good coach and a decent quarterback. It just seems like it's a big ask, honestly.
So we're both at, what is that, 9-1 now?
Is that a win for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heading into a matchup with Charlotte, first time we've ever played them.
Win. Moving on.
We are like 18-2 in November, I think, over the last several years. So yeah, a win against Charlotte, which takes us into a crucial matchup with SMU at home. We've won 7 of the last 9 in the series, 8-1 in the spread against the Mustangs. Led last year at halftime, but ended up losing that heartbreaker 34-31, threw a pick in the end zone at the end of the game. Last time we played here, SMU came in ranked 23rd, and we got the 28-25 victory.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a big. I think there's a video of me. No, that was the last one. I was trying to think of the ending of that where we scored the game, but that was like 2 home games against SMU ago.
Yeah. That was not long after that was when Sonny Dykes was getting mentioned for the TCU job.
Yeah.
This one's it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really tough because if you think about it, UTSA, Tulane, SMU, and then Memphis. That's pretty much, for the most part, let's try that again. Some combination of UTSA or Tulane for the 1 and 2 spot. And I've seen anyone say Memphis or SMU for the 3rd or 4th spot.
Yeah.
It's a total toss-up there.
I think it's a toss-up of that top 4, like literally all 4 contenders to make the conference championship. And then it's not a significant drop-off, but
Sure.
I think there's a drop-off after that.
I will say that SMU's schedule is pretty friendly to them. So there's a chance this game could feel special to them because they're going to come into the Tigers likely looking pretty good. They'll have a loss more than likely to Oklahoma and TCU, but they are Charlotte, ECU, Temple, Tulsa, Rice, North Texas, and then Memphis.
Yeah. I mean, this could, again, they likely have 2 out-of-conference losses. Maybe they pull one of those out. But this could be a pretty big, important matchup late in the year to determine,
I think it's huge.
like, home field for a conference championship, particularly.
Yeah, it's a very big game. Trey, I think this may be a loss only because
I'm kind of feeling that way, too.
like, it seems like we have struggled with SMU as of late. I don't know why, because there was a period in time where we just smoked them. I think there's actually been runs on both sides, really, where it's been like win, 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 loss, win, 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 and it just kind of keeps going on the other side. But I'm going to say it's a loss, a close one, but a loss. That pains me because it's a home game.
I know.
And if I could retroactively go back and change something, I would. But I'm going to say it's a loss, mostly because it seems so wild to go from like a 7-6 year to what are we now, 10-1?
9-1. No, 10-1, yeah.
10-1. Wait.
No, 9-1.
9-1, yeah. To 9-1. That just seems like kind of a big jump.
Roster to roster, though. Because it sounds like you're saying the reason you're scheduling this a loss is because you've said win multiple weeks in a row. Roster to roster.
It's so
Memphis
tough.
at home.
They pulled in so much
Yeah, that's the thing.
transfer. That's where I'm at. It's not necessarily because I'm predicting so many wins, but it's like at that point in the year,
Like I know
all
for
those
a fact
transfers may be clicking for them.
they have 15 freaking Miami players on their roster.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
you
mean,
want to think about that.
I think, Kenny, I'm taking this a loss too to move us to 9-2. I'm going to round out the year at Temple. We finally get over that hump in Philly and beat Temple. I'm going to have a good Thanksgiving weekend. I'm manifesting that right now. It's going to move us to 10-2, and then we're going to get revenge, get this, on SMU in the conference championship. How do you like me now?
That is a wild turn of events. That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
Well, it's where I went with it.
I do think you win at Temple because I don't think Stan Drayton's in a nice way worth the damn. Like I just think that program is not doing
And
hot right
freaking
now.
EJ Warner.
Yeah, EJ Warner, I think he had a really good game at the end of the year last year versus ECU. I think he toasted ECU.
And was it our boy B-Moss that told us what he said at Media Days this year, that there was a Memphis fan last year that just kept yelling at him that Isaac Bruce made his dad's career? And he was like, I don't know what to say back to that. Because you can't, I mean, what is he going to say about it?
What do you say? Like someone's got to catch the ball, dude.
Yeah,
Literally. What do you mean?
He did.
Yeah.
And I think we know who that person was that was saying that.
Was it Brandon?
Yeah.
Is it all be gum?
It was so,
Of course it was.
so
I'm trying to think of who I would know that would yell something like that at somebody.
it was Bum G.
All bum.
Gosh.
All right, TJ, I'm at 10-2 in a conference championship appearance.
I mean, yeah, I think they're going to
You're
be.
at 10-2 too, with
Gonna
only.
be Temple. I know it's.
I mean, you've
at
only got
Philly.
one conference loss.
I know it's at Philly, and the refs hate us up there. Joey still caught it. I'm going to take a win there. I just think that we're better. I'm trying to solely focus on our roster and how I feel about our roster heading into these games. And I just think our roster is better than Temple. So,
Fun fact, that'll be our only game played this entire year on actual grass.
really,
Yeah. Everything else is artificial turf.
Now, you know what people are going to say when they watch this and hear y'all's record, right?
yeah. I mean, trust me. When I looked at the schedule originally, I was like, this is a low ball 8-4, but I think a 9-3 is really what I feel best about.
So you're only one game off of that.
I know, but that's my thing though. Is
That's the optimism in me, though. I think 9-3 feels probably where they end up, but I'm going. Let's go 10-2 and make a conference championship.
Yeah,
The schedule sets up nice. Your toughest opponents outside of Missouri
all
are at home. You have a very weak second half of the season after the Tulane game. I mean, it's very doable.
Yeah, I think that if early on, if they can establish the running game, then I feel much, much better about what did I end up saying? 10-2?
Yeah.
10-2? Yeah, I'd feel much better about 10-2. But going into it now, all we're hearing is how everyone's looking good. Like, we don't really know what the running back situation is. There's 15 of them on the roster. Which ones are they going to stand out kind of situation? Maybe Ryan can give us a little input on that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think if the running game is going well, it's established, I would feel really, really good about it. 10-2. But as of right now, I'm a little on the fence. I think 9-3 is really where.
Well, hey, we're still 3 weeks out. Obviously, when we get to September 2nd, 9th, we'll get a better feel, and we'll have full breakdowns on game week. So,
Trey, just throwing this out there, courtesy of FanDuel, what do you think the over or under is set on for Memphis this year?
wins?
Yeah.
I've already seen it. It's 8.5.
Okay, cheater.
I am taking the over.
I didn't realize we were cheating. Okay. Wow.
I mean, what do you mean? That's not cheating. I bet. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's fair. What are Memphis's odds to win the conference?
That's good. We're probably the fourth best odds,
Give me a number.
which means we're probably plus 750.
Plus 700. That's
know.
pretty good money. Like, if anyone's actually a gambler.
I mean, I don't do a whole lot of future bets because I don't like tying my money up for that long, but I might throw something on that.
Yeah. Don't let Chase and Daniel know that we're the new Bluff City Bets over here. But just throwing it out
When
there.
we get in the season, TJ and I'll start throwing out some picks.
Memphis at plus 700 is very good money, considering it is a wide open conference race.
Wide open.
Like, I understand, like,
And you've got a
UTSA
schedule
gets
that
slotted
sets
in
up
there, but
very nicely for you.
yeah, I mean, yes. I think that Memphis has a very, very. I mean, we're just talking about 10-1 and 9-2.
If not this year, when?
Look,
If not, you heard it from Seth. The most best team we've had in a long, most best talented.
that is something that I think that maybe gets overlooked as a statement in general, right? Because you're thinking, like, come on, dude, you're just saying that, right? You just lost
I mean, he didn't say it the other last year.
Caden Priestcorn. You just lost Eddie Lewis. You just lost Asa Martin.
Stonehands.
You just lost Gabe Rogers. Like, you just lost so many of your top receiving weapons, and now you're saying, like, you just got so many new
Yeah,
guys
but we
back
got
in.
Blaine Kumsky. We got Tusky Dove.
I'm
we got
with you. I'm just saying,
Rock Taylor.
when people hear that, they're gonna be like, "What? You're just talking out of your butt. Like, what are you talking about?"
Well, they better get out to Simmons Bank and watch this team.
Amen, brother.
All right, we're going to take a break. Head over to the facility. Kenny, we need you to hit that teleport button. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with this beer review.
Yeah.
think that the confidence that Penny Hardaway has, the piece that it seems like he has, do you think that's strictly because, hey, I got this awesome recruiting class I just signed, or that is year 5? This is getting easier.
I think it's both of
to
those.
me.
It's year 5, and he started to tick off accomplishments. You know, won the conference tournament last year, been in the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. I think he's comfortable. He knows the job. And then on top of it, he very clearly has the best team he's ever had. Why wouldn't you feel comfortable?
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy.
They got picked 4th in that poll, the preseason media poll, and I don't think that would be a good finish for this team this year. No. I think they need to aspire way higher than that, and I don't see why they shouldn't. Tulane and UTSA may be good teams, but they're not world beaters. They're not teams that you should preclude yourself from beating if you want to get to the spot you want to be. And if you were to want to be a Power 5 school, which the University of Memphis wants to be in athletics, you have to beat teams like that. So the aspirations still need to be high for this program.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, what's up? Welcome back. We are in the facility. We got Coach Silverfield. Welcome. I don't know if you've known, but we are actually the #1 rated college football podcast for Memphis.
I love it.
Are you familiar with Big Game Boomer?
No, but I love the fact that you guys are, and I appreciate the recognition you guys give our football program.
Welcome, and we are damn glad to have you on. TJ, typically we do a beer review, but on campus it's dry. We're going with
maybe next time.
A seltzer water, I think is what TJ brought us today.
Yeah, this is a San Pellegrino Momenti. I think it's how that's pronounced. It's lemon and raspberry. Not sure how I feel about it, just off the general naming convention of it, but nice and refreshing.
I don't know. We'll get to that at the end. Coach, we're 3 weeks out. What are you, 12 days into camp?
Yeah, it's upon us, right? About halfway through our camp, and then school will start. But the focus obviously is getting better through training camp. The guys have done a phenomenal job, but just kind of pleased with the progress we're making. You're in the middle of camp, right? Making sure you're staying healthy and well and progressing. We got the majority of our scheme in, and now it's time to just kind of hone in the fine fundamentals and start to get ready for the season.
Yeah, I know. I think it was last week in one of your availabilities you were talking about one of the focuses of finishing this year. In the last 2 years, I think it's 8 games, I think, by a touchdown or less, 2 in overtime, a couple of last-second field goals. How do you drive that home in fall camp of finishing? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the importance thing of the finish aspect of it is with everything we do, right? We talk about it with owning the football, right? No turnovers, right? Getting takeaways, finishing every drive, finishing every play, and finishing every game. So part of that is just putting that mentality of we've got to be the best fourth quarter team we can be. A couple years prior, right, we had these great comebacks. We were a good fourth quarter team. In this past year, and really the year before that as well, we weren't finding ways to finish the game. And it always starts with me as the head coach. I got to find ways. But I think the more we talk about it and put it out there, hey, we understand the importance of finding ways to put games away. I hope we have leads going into every fourth quarter. But I think if we've discussed it in practice, if we're talking about it all August, all summer, about finding ways to put games away, and that means being in the best shape, right? So we're the best conditioned team, so we can go and have strong fourth quarters. But also the mindset and the mentality of, hey, no matter what the score is in the fourth quarter, it's ours.
Yeah. You talk about being in shape, man. This heat out here. I don't know. I was out at the FedEx St. Jude yesterday. Lucas Glover sweating through his pants. You guys are going to be in damn good shape if you guys keep practicing in this. Come November, be nothing, right?
Well, it's hot everywhere. I mean, that's why I tell our team all the darn time. It's hot down. We play in South Florida. It's hot in Tampa, right? Our first game is an opponent from Daytona Beach in Florida. I mean, it's hot throughout the country, but our guys are prepared. We got a great strength and conditioning staff that have worked the guys all summer, and we're excited about where we are from a conditioning standpoint. But there's one thing to be running back and forth in between the white lines and actually practicing out in the heat.
Sure.
I know you said you were
kind of working on scheme. We're 3 weeks out. At what point do you start phasing away from scheme and start looking at, hey, we got to start getting prepared for week one? Because it's kind of a fine line there.
Absolutely. I think it all depends on where you are. We don't want to start preparing for week one's opponent, 20 days out, because then all of a sudden you're going to line up, and for sure that week one you're going to see something unique. We do have an opponent in Bethune-Cookman that has a new coaching staff that will have some different schemes. So there's not like we can go back and watch last year's opponent and say, okay, this is what they're doing. So find different ways. We got to continue to improve upon ourselves. I think, the majority of the X's and O's, once you get halfway through camp, should be in. And now we're doing a lot more situational football. And so, third downs, red zone, 2-minute, 4-minute, all the different situations put our guys in the right spots. And so then when that does occur in a game, we've already practiced it. We'll start honing in on game one about 10 days out.
Yeah, makes sense.
You talked about Bethune-Cookman, new staff. I mean, even in the American, you got several new teams. You got several teams with new staff. I mean, how does that change preparing game week? If, you got a new coach, you don't have a lot of film on a team you hadn't seen probably in the last several years. How does that change the approach?
Yeah, I think, we always try to do an off-season study on our opponents, especially, is it like Navy on a short week, right? They've got a new head coach, but we assume they're going to run a lot of the same scheme. But with that being said, you get an idea jump because they are a Thursday night game. But then you look at, Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas State has a lot of the same coaches coming back. But then once you start to get into the season, at least you got film from that previous year, it does change, right? You can sit there and chase ghosts and sit here and say, hey, at this school 8 years ago, this coach did this, 3 years ago, this defensive coordinator was a linebacker coach. This was the blitz they put in. So the reality of it is you really want to focus on yourself, what you're going to be good at, and then understand that the opponent's going to bring a variety of things. I think it's always hard on a defense because what are they going to come out running offensively? Are they going to be a triple option team? Are they going to be a spread team? Are they going to line up in 22 personnel? So a lot of those unknowns, but that's the way they call it college football in week one, and that's why so many crazy things occur then.
How tough is that turnaround on the short weeks? You talked about playing on a Thursday. Let's say it's a Thursday away. I think we're Navy at home this year, but let's pretend it's Navy there.
Yeah.
How tough is that?
Well, you think about this. Most of our games early in the season are 9-8 games. So if we play a Saturday night game, by the time most of our guys get to bed, it's going to be after 1 o'clock at night. That's even after they shower, eat, and go to bed. That's after a game. Well, and then the coaching staff, if you think about it as well, they're going to have all that film graded, all that stuff, and hurry up and be back in the office by 7 a.m. So really there's no sleep from the previous game. The one thing you worry about with the players is not so much the film study, it's their body's recovery, because that's a quick turnaround. For a coach, you got to sit there, okay, put the previous game to bed, right? Get that graded, make sure you're correcting those mistakes, because if not, those mistakes will rear their ugly head on Thursday night. So you got to get that stuff taught, but then you got to go ahead and plan for the opponent and what they may have. And playing a team like Navy, if it were away, a triple options is something unique. It's not like we're going to see that the first couple of weeks. So now all of a sudden you're playing a completely different offense than you're going to see all season. With all that, as you move forward, playing an away game, that means we're going to be flying out on Wednesday, right? So we'll come here and do a Wednesday practice here, fly out. We have to have study hall at the hotel, make sure the guys are handling their academics, and then go play a Thursday game. And usually those Thursday night away games, they're those 7 o'clock ESPN games. So you get home later, you're back at it, and then trying to find a way. You try to find a way to catch your breath the following weekend of it with our student athletes, getting them recovered. But it's a quick turnaround. We've done it before. We have a plan in place regardless.
Yeah, you mentioned recovery process, especially for the guys. And I know 2 years ago, the injury bug kind of struck. Have you guys changed anything you're doing in that area, like philosophy-wise, things you're doing maybe in practice or camp to ensure guys are recovering better?
Yeah, we're always going to be smart with it. I think, right, there's those natural, what can we do about broken bones and, ligament damage? Sure. We're going some of those things you can't control. We obviously want to be smart with the way we practice, right? Make sure we're efficient. But we've added a sports science department to our football program. I think part of that is looking at high-speed mileage. What are they doing? How many yards on feet? Are there a guy that maybe, hey, instead of this guy getting an hour and a half of practice, maybe he's only getting an hour in certain segments, so we can be smart with the soft tissue. We've had these Normatec boots where the guys put the cooling legs on their boots, chiropractic, massage, all those things that can help them get recovered, because they're going to practice really hard during the week. Obviously, games are physical and violent, and it takes a toll on these guys' bodies. So we're always looking at, we got a great sports medicine staff that's taking care of these guys' bodies to make sure that they're doing everything they can. And we're always looking, okay, how do we take the best care of our guys? And sometimes you get lucky and get through a season, knock on wood, with minimal injuries, and other times, as we know, things occur during the course of the season.
We might need to borrow some of those cooling boots in the stadium on August 2nd or September 2nd?
September 2nd.
Those September games, man.
Well, I can see y'all with the cooling boots doing a beer review, up there September 2nd.
We'll have to do it. You got that?
That may be a segment.
Do a live
pregame.
stadium show.
Yeah,
We'll get it going. We'll get it going. What's the most impressive thing you've seen since camp started? A play, anything?
Yeah,
you guy lifting so much, like 600 squat. What do we got?
Besides you two being here in our facility, being the most impressive thing so far, camp. Yeah, right. I think the biggest thing that as the roster turnover occurs in college football, the one question that we asked ourselves was, what's it going to look like from camaraderie, right? The actual team aspect. It's great to talk about the individual of, hey, Simeon Blair, right? Blake Watson, you're bringing all these transfers in that are coming in. Well, we also had a great core of guys that have come in and done it the right way for a long time. And Jalen Allen's been part of the program that's had success. And now all of a sudden you're bringing all these other guys. But I think the fun thing to see this training camp, right, is not only the work and the mindset and the approach of the guys, but it's also the bonding. Because you're bringing in a guy that, hey, he's only here for 6 months, right? Another guy that's, just finishing up a transfer from this place. And to see the way they've, worked together and understand, hey, we're all in this for one goal, one reason to win a championship, that's been a joy. And I think sometimes you get lost in that aspect of, hey, well, we got all these guys, that's great. Well, they got to work together.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's been the most impressive thing. There's been a lot of, one-play deals. Hey, this guy made a fantastic hit, this interception, this catch. A lot of those things, but those are just flashes in the pan. What I like to see on a day-to-day basis is our guys getting better and bonding, and I think we're seeing a lot of that so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned roster management. We've talked about it last several years. I mean, it's a big deal, right? 35, 40%. You said we've gotten a lot of new faces this year. You got Demir, Simeon Blair, like you mentioned, Malik Feaster. Who are a couple of those guys that have come in that maybe the casual fan hadn't heard of, that they're going to be out there at the Liberty Bowl on September 2nd, and it's like, wow, who's that guy?
Yeah, we talk about a lot of the skill guys because those are right? Everybody wants to know about the skinny guys running around and all that stuff. Yeah, front ones, whatever. A guy that hasn't gotten the attention, I think he'll get a lot of recognition because he's doing a fantastic job, is a guy named Josh Ellison. Transferred D lineman from Oklahoma, played sparingly there. He came here. He's one of those guys that came here in January and hey, I'm just here for my final season. And my goal is to put myself in the best situation to win a championship and to win a conference ring. And he's come out and steadily done a lot of things. Maybe that big D tackle position is not as sexy to the average fan, but he's going to be a difference maker for our team this year. And I think that's one of those things that you kind of sit back and watch. Obviously, we've had some turnover at specialists. Sure. And, somebody always wants to talk about, look, Demir Blakeham's going to be fantastic. Blake Watson's going to be fantastic, right? We talked about Simeon, all those different guys. But the kicking position is just as important as any, right? Reed Bauer, the transfer punter from Arkansas. We expect great things from him, and then you got Seth Morgan, the kicker transfer. We need him to be steady and do well. So I think those are some of the names that fans kind of forgot about. Oh yeah, we do have new kickers.
Sure.
They won't think about it until it becomes an issue. So as long as he keeps making them,
goes, right?
And it does what he's supposed to. We won't know his name, but no, I think those are some of the names that the fans will get out there and be able to get their names behind and see what they're all about.
Sure. Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff and the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things, right? It used to be, hey, if you lose a redshirt sophomore linebacker, well, you can't just go replace him with a true freshman. Maybe you got to go find, is it a sophomore or junior linebacker that comes in and competes? So what it's done is it's made recruiting year-round, which it always had been for high school guys. But now, with the way this portal is, with looking at guys, you look where your needs are, but you can never perfectly guess, right? If you have a guy that all of a sudden you're going to lose a guy in May that you weren't expected to, well, are you able to find that exact piece of the puzzle? Then no. And so sometimes your numbers are a little skewed. You may say, hey, I want 15 scholarship O linemen. you lose one, but hey, there's this corner that's really, really good. Well, we can now add him to our roster. And that's just part of it. It's the nature of it, and we have to have an understanding. What it's done is kind of brought me back to my NFL days. I almost feel like an NFL general manager sometimes. Okay, what do we hear?
Yeah,
what do
I was
we
going to
have?
ask if you've hired a GM. Yeah. Is that a position that needs to be kind of come into the college game?
You know, the more and more college football programs are hiring GMs, and whether it's an old director of recruiting, somebody that can do that. Some of these are handling their NIL salary caps, which we're not supposed to discuss.
But
I
think you need the salary cap.
Yeah, exactly, a salary cap manager. But no, right now I currently, ultimately the roster's on me. And so I can never sit back in January and say, well, we didn't have the piece. Well, that's on me, And so I try to manage it. We got great staff, great support staff that help assist with all that stuff. But I carry around a roster in the back pocket, especially in the off season, because sometimes it's an eraser and a pen scratch, or we moved this guy here, or we added this, because it's ever changing now more so than ever. But it's funny because you do see that general manager title come up. So if either of you guys want to apply for the job,
I
maybe we can
will.
look at it.
You will have it right after this.
Yeah.
TJ may be better at it than I.
I don't know. Well,
He's a big Madden and NCAA football. Well, I always be good at football, NCAA football too. Excited for that to come back on Xbox.
need it.
Talking about the roster management and everything, Seth, I think, has said it. This is the most talented team I think he's been on since he's been here. And I think Joe Skates alluded to it a little bit last week in an interview, saying you guys got something special brewing. Do you see that? Is this the most talented team you feel like you've had here?
Well, I think one of the things we've been able to do is, whether it be through development, guys like Seth that are now going into his third year.
Can he shave yet? Is he shaving?
I think he's starting to shave. I'm going to may let him borrow my razor since I'm not using it as much anymore. And
we're
he
all
needs
about
to.
bearded Silverfield, by the way.
You like it, beard Silverfield?
That was a thing. I don't know if you know that.
Do the
on the
fans
internet.
like it?
Oh, well, I don't know. We're trying to get it going.
Yeah, well,
We try to create
if the
the
fans
hashtag
like it,
for it.
it looks okay. I'm all for it. I'll keep it going.
We're beard guys. So.
Y'all look sharp. I like it.
Perfect.
Give you guys a lot of credit. The whole bearded crew out here. It's good in the indoor. But with that being said, Seth is now a third-year starter, right? A young man that we got out of high school, Greg Rubin, now a third-year starter. So you got these guys. We talked about Jalen earlier, that are the core of what we've developed here. And, look, credit to Mike Norvell, credit to Coach Fuente, all those guys that came before me about building the great culture here. But with the roster turnover and the change, you got to build it every single year. Right. And so those guys that have been here that understand this is the way we do things have been great. Now adding some of these pieces to the puzzle, right? Joe Skates was a transfer. And for them to sit there and say, man, this is a talented roster, it is. We do, as I said in my press conference earlier today, like this is not a bare cupboard. We've got players. We got guys that can do it. It's our job as coaches to put them in the right positions to have success. But we've got depth. We've got a lot of guys that can go out and do things. And it's one thing to just say, hey, we got a roster full of talent. Now, how can we go out there and execute it? And that's part of what we got to do and how we got to do things. But I'm looking forward to it, and I feel like we do have a special group.
You talked about the roster turnover. Looking at the offense specifically, last year receiving core depleted. I think it's only one of the top five leading receivers last year is back. How is that? I know it's a competition every year for a spot, right? Like, how hard is that to just go out and try to find a way to replace a lot of production?
Yeah, I think, TJ, one of the things that's so unique is we actually lost our top 5 receiving targets from last season. Yeah. And so you look at, you're not starting from scratch, because guys like Rock Taylor, I told everybody last year, Rock Taylor's got a very bright future with this program, right? Guys like Sutton Smith, that even though he's a running back, we do throw to the running backs. He's got a bright future here. And so, guys like, we knew what Joe Skates was capable. We saw his big play explosiveness versus Navy. Like, okay, how do we bring those guys back? So I didn't sit there after the season like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Now, the transfer portal works both ways. You sit there and say, okay, some of these guys, it's maybe in their best interest to find somewhere else. And there's other guys you maybe have gone somewhere for money. But, we brought in a lot of guys that we also like. Toski Dove, 19-game starter at Mizzou, captain. We talked about Demir Blankumsey. I think he's got explosiveness. The tight ends, we've got a variety of tight ends that I think can help us this year. And talked about the growth of Rock Taylor and some of those guys. Kobe Drake's a guy that's going to continue to fill in a role for us. Marcelo Bussey. So you're starting to talk about all these names that a lot of these people really haven't talked about a whole lot. And now all of a sudden you're getting to see, man, and I hope this time next year you guys are saying, man, Coach, well, I hope we didn't lose our top 5 again, but hey, you lost a couple of these guys here or there. Well, okay, that's our job as coaches to reproduce and to get those guys. But we got playmakers, and we're excited about them.
Yeah. You mentioned tight end. Just general question. I feel like they've been used more since you've been head coach. Is that more of a scheme thing? Is that just playmakers at the position? Is it Seth making the right reads? Like, how are tight ends being utilized more these days?
Yeah, we always this is a very similar offensive system to what we've been running now going to year 8. It's always featured a tight end. In fact, since I've been the head coach, I really don't believe we've lined up a single play without a tight end on the field, which is unique, what we call 11 personnel or 12 personnel. And that's always been right, going back to Joey Magnifico, Sean Dykes, but those guys were able to do it, and then what our tight end of the previous season was able to do. It's just part of it and how it implements it, and sometimes it's the comfort of a quarterback, and then maybe it's this guy couldn't get, maybe this route wasn't doing that, or maybe the run game wasn't as effective as he wanted to. Maybe those are intermediate passes to the tight end, maybe some play action bootleg, maybe easier for a younger quarterback. But, I think it was never sat there and said, okay, we've got to find a way to get the tight end the ball more. We've had some playmakers there, which is unique. It doesn't matter where the playmakers come from.
Sure.
If 5 years ago, we had a bunch of playmakers in the backfield, and that's who we were getting the ball to in a variety of ways, right? Antonio Gibson was a wide receiver. Tony Pollard was more in that receiver role. Kenny Gainwell, we lined up at wide receiver. So wherever they can fit into our scheme, I think fits. But I do think we're going to continue to see the involvement of tight ends within our scheme. And if a guy can go out there and make play after play after play, we'll find ways to get him the ball.
Mentioning Antonio, Kenny, I feel like this season you've got a little bit of a loaded running back room again. And I know in previous season we've kind of said like, hey, we kind of want to identify that guy, maybe a 1-2 punch. But it feels like with Duck, or with Jay, with Watson, Sutton Smith, like, are you trying to find that one guy, or is it more of a just go with who's got the hot hand that day?
Yeah, I think, the day and age, and I've alluded to this before, of getting a guy 30 carries a game in college football, it's gone away. Now, if we have a guy, if Adrian Peterson wants to come by, or Barry Sanders, we'll be happy to hand him the ball. And we've had some of those guys. But even the day, like when Patrick Taylor was here, people forget Patrick Taylor was a 3-year starting running back with us.
Well, he was starting the year Kenny
right?
And
Patrick broke his foot versus Ole Miss, which allowed some of these other guys to step up. It's so unique if you go back and look at the history of those running backs. Even Darrell Henderson, who averaged almost 9 yards a carry for 2 straight seasons, he still shared carries with guys like Tony Pollard, and then allowed Kenny Gainwell for different situations, Antonio Gibson, to name just some names. So this year, I believe, we don't want to go into a season with, hey, we got these 7 running backs, because if you got 7 running backs, none of them are worth a damn.
Right. Yeah.
We got a bunch of guys in the room that are capable, but I think this year we'd like to say, okay, who are our 2 or 3 guys that we feel comfortable getting the ball to, and can you put them in different positions? Maybe we line up in some 20 personnel split back stuff. Maybe line up one of those guys at wide receiver. Do a variety of different things. It's our job to move them all over the field and put them in the right position. But I do feel like, hey, let's really hone in on these guys that are getting it. And if you've got 3 good running backs, maybe they're each getting 30 plays a game, and it's split. Maybe some of them are 2 backs in the backfield. Maybe one guy's just the true guy in the backfield. Maybe guys at wide receiver. So if you find a way to split that up, I think it's a good balance.
Yeah, you talking about 30 plays a game made me think of the rule changes this year. So if the clock not stopping on first downs, I think you can't take back-to-back timeout. Has that changed any of how y'all are approaching the season? Do you think it's going to limit the plays? I mean, you got teams out here running almost 100 plays. I think they have to cut down.
No, so I think I don't think any coach or any team is looking at the philosophy of how do we approach our base downs, right? I think where it affects you is, okay, instead of, if the average college football team is running 82 plays a game, and now maybe 78, so there may be 4 or 5 plays a game less in college football. Where it'll be unique is like a Navy game. Does that go even quicker because of the triple option?
Not
that's
when you're
it.
stuffing them.
Yeah, exactly right. But even then, it's just from an offensive perspective with that clock roll, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to be a drastic change. I don't think any fan's going to say, wow, that game was 6 minutes shorter. I just think that's the nature of it. But
you'd be surprised. Those CBS games go like 4.5 hours. 6 minutes would be a lot.
There you go. So, we did talk to our team about the rules. We have talked to them about the consecutive timeouts, but that's all on me to make sure we're doing that.
Sure.
And then really where the no stoppage of clock before 2 minutes before half, before 2 minutes of the end of the game, really are when you're in a situation, maybe there's 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. and you're down 6. How do you drive down the field to get that score? Sure. Maybe that's where it comes into effect. Hopefully our opponents are the ones that are down there having to worry about, hey, the clock's not stopping in 2-minute type situations with us having a lead. But other than that, it's not going to change the way you change your play calls.
Sure. Well, good. I mean, I was going to ask about defense, but I don't want to dive too deep into it here because we talked about Simeon earlier in your interview. You were talking about the DBs and just how deep they are. I don't know if you know this, just because I don't know how often you look at the analytics of it all, but you guys were a borderline top 50 defense in yards per game last year. How do you build off that after kind of being depleted by graduation rate and things like that? I think it's like 5 or 6 guys are gone. Zay Collins is gone. Linebacker has been a big strength for you all, and now it's kind of a little thin outside of Jeff. I think he's really the only returning starter. So how can you expand off that? How can you continue to be such a good defense?
Yeah, I think anybody, we talked about, oh my gosh, they lost these pass catchers on offense, and then you kind of look at the defense. Well, man, these are some newer names. Like who is this guy? Who's the Josh Ellison I talked about earlier, right? Who are some of these guys that are going to be playing? We all know Jalen Allen and guys like William Whitlow, Cremonte Hamilton up front, but we've got depth. And it's unique because you said you lost all these guys, but I feel like we've got great depth there. Top 50, in yards per game is great. I want to be top 10 in points per game. That's the most important, right? Like, I don't care if they run, have 1,000 yards. If we can hold them to 3 points a game, we'll all take it. Yeah. We did take some steps in the right direction with our defense. I like the scheme. I think our defense coaches do a phenomenal job. But you look back and you say, okay, Quindell Johnson, right, the leader of our team, a captain, you lose him. Well, Simeon Blair's going to be phenomenal. I'm not sitting there comparing those two, but I think that's a comparable player and a unique skill set that's a leader, right? And I'm not sitting there comparing those two. They're both wonderful individuals. But then you get a guy like Greg Rubin that's played. We added Malik Feaster, a name that a lot of these people, had never heard of. Diego Brumfield. I mean, some of these you guys are probably like, who are all these guys? But I feel like we got bodies that can go out there and compete at a high level that will allow us to have success. And then you'd look at the linebackers, right? Jeff Canton's one of our few linebackers that have actually played. But what can we do and where can we carry this over and have successes? I think we've added more and more guys. It's time for some of these younger guys to step up. Bryce Edmonton is a name, a guy we recruited a few years ago out of Nashville. We got high expectations for him. Chandler Martin, was a FCS All-American, freshman All-American who's here with us now. And then, like I've talked about all along, I'm really excited about the depth at D-line. It's one of those positions over the years, and we always say at a place like Memphis, man, how do we get the depth at D-line? Well, we used to have it in the 80s. Well, we're not there anymore, so how do we get it back? And I've been pleased with where we're at with that. And there's going to be a lot of new faces, but I think what we're going to be able to see is we got guys that can rotate and still make plays.
Yeah, you mentioned Simeon Blair. We're a huge fan. We saw it in the spring game. He's like a coach on the field, directing people left and right. Playing sports myself, I mean, that's a huge advantage. I feel like when you got somebody that's out there that knows where everybody needs to be, kind of tell them where to go. Excited to see him.
He's been phenomenal. And, look, all of our guys have been great, but he has been, I've said it, even as these NFL scouts come in, he is a phenomenal football player, but he's an amazing young man, and he's the leader out there. He's taking control. He's putting guys in the right spot, and he's got great energy. So the sky's the limit for him. We have huge expectations. We're thrilled he's a Tiger.
Awesome. Yeah. One last question before we get into this memento. What beer are you going to drink after we win the American Conference Championship?
All of them.
All of them? There you go. That's the only answer.
That is the right answer.
The coldest one you can find. All right. I guess we'll jump into this quick lemon raspberry that TJ's provided to us.
I'm not going to lie. At first, it was kind of gross, but it's grown on me. I kind of like it.
I mean, it's refreshing, as hot as it is today, but I would have preferred a beer.
Without a doubt.
I'm going to go, it's good. I would drink another one, 7.3. That's a good score.
That's pretty good.
For sparkling water.
I'm going to go a little higher, only because I am extremely thirsty. I sweat walking to my car. So to have something with a little bit of juice added into it, just a little bit of refreshingness to it, rehydrate me, I'm going to go 7.8.
Wow.
As long as our marketing people aren't looking at this, I'm not a big sparkling water guy, hard to believe. In fact, I'll drink out of the hose out back most nights.
There you go.
Look, I'm not, this isn't my cup of tea. So it's probably about 2.0.
That's not bad.
It's just not
That's
not
the
exactly
lowest rating we've ever had on Tigers. We've had some bad beers.
Well, I apologize. I mean, look,
no, we love the honesty.
There's no such thing as a bad beer, so I totally disagree with that comment.
Okay.
But seltzer water, yeah.
We'll get you an Andy Smith after the conference championship. You may have to change your mind.
You're getting a care pack.
Sounds good. But yeah, this is look, I'll enjoy it. We'll on the show with you guys, but yeah,
We appreciate it.
probably
Yeah.
my first and last seltzer water you ever see me with.
Well, we're glad you toughed through it today with us. But Coach, we appreciate it. TJ and I will be out there doing our part this season, cheering you guys on. Looking forward to it. You guys watching, get out to Simmons Bank September 2nd, I think it is. It's first game. So we'll see you there. We'll be back in just a minute. Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy.
They got picked fourth in that poll, the preseason media poll. And I don't think that would be a good finish for this team this year. No. I think they need to aspire way higher than that, and I don't see why they shouldn't. Tulane and UTSA may be good teams, but they're not world beaters. They're not teams that you should preclude yourself from beating if you want to get to the spot you want to be. And if you were to want to be a Power 5 school, which the University of Memphis wants to be in athletics, you have to beat teams like that. So the aspirations still need to be high for this program.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back. We're back in studio. Tej, we were over there in the facility. That was dope.
I know. It's always so nice being in there, man.
Little interview with Ryan. Camp starting at football in less than 3 weeks. That was good. Anything stick out that he said?
Oh, I mean, for me, calling out a couple of guys by name, I think is fun to hear, right? I mean, especially when you're replacing guys, right? Like we've had Quindell for years. Quindell's now out. Now it's Simeon Blair's the next guy back there. You and I have experienced Simeon Blair firsthand at the spring game. Like, I mean, we were a couple rows back, but I felt like I felt him yelling at me.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a huge advantage to have a coach on the football field.
Yeah. So
and it feels like Simeon Blair is a football coach on the field.
Yeah.
Remember in Pee Wee when your coach was literally on the field with you and he's like lining people up, shifting you over, like literally telling you in your ear what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
I mean, that is Simeon, but he's playing as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, you and I have talked about this. There was the stat last year at Arkansas. He was the worst rated pass defender in the nation.
And maybe that's because the Arkansas defense didn't know where to line up and he was having to literally until the snap of the ball tell people where to be, and then he was having to play catch up.
Yeah. I mean, just taking that into, like, putting that in your mind and then seeing what you've seen so far, that's just, it seems wild that that's the same player. Absolutely bananas that is the same player. I never saw him once get just toasted at practice. I've never seen him get burnt in the spring game. Like, it's just wild to me that that's the same player. Another guy, Josh Ellison, he mentioned him by name. The transfer.
Cam Jackson's replacement.
Cam Jackson's replacement, exactly. So you're pulling in another guy who is going to have to step up and kind of replace someone that you have a little more experience with. I mean, Ellison has played, I think Ryan said sparingly.
Yeah.
That's 30 snaps at Oklahoma. Like, I mean, that's not nothing, right? 30 games, excuse me, not 30 snaps, 30 games.
30 snaps isn't a whole lot.
Yeah, 30 games, excuse me, I realized what I said. And, I mean, that's a lot of football. And you're telling me this guy's just going to step right in and he's impressing at practice. I mean, obviously it's D tackle, so it's not like the sexiest position, right? Like your job is to take up two players.
Oh, it can be sexy.
It can. I mean, depending on who you have, but like
if all Josh is living his life in the backfield, it's going to be sexy.
It wasn't sexy under Cam Jackson. Let's be completely frank about it. He was big, but he didn't get a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah, he's just taking up 2 guys. That's his job, right? I mean, what more can you ask?
It'll be interesting to see if Josh Ellison is that dude that can get in the backfield. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think all in all, like the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it'll
in
be
general,
interesting
anybody,
to see
pick anybody.
the depth of this line, and if they're able to get that pressure that we've kind of been looking for the last couple of years.
Yeah, between Jalen and Cormonte, I think they were about 9 or 10 sacks last year.
I mean, not terrible, but
the sacks were down, definitely. So, what about you? Anything you took away?
I mean, I like to hear with, we talked a lot about roster turnover management. I did like, asking him anything that stood out at camp so far. I'm expecting like, Demir had the nasty play or whatever. And talking about the team gelling, that's encouraging to hear this early on. I mean, they've only been in camp maybe like a week or so, a little over a week. Adding in a bunch of transfers. You got freshmen that have come in. So that was good to hear that he feels like the team is really meshing together and they've got a good solid unit.
For sure.
All going after that final goal of a conference championship. So we'll see.
Part of me wanted to ask, like, what's a successful season look like to Ryan?
Yeah.
But, like, we kind of are up against it time-wise, not going to lie. But
Right.
in your mind, what is a successful season?
Well, I think he said it in an availability the other day, is their goal is winning a conference championship.
Sure.
I mean, that's what they're setting out to do, right? So at the end of the day, if they don't win a conference championship, they didn't achieve what they think as a team that they are capable of achieving. Now, if that means they go out, they still win 10 games, they go 9-3, win a bowl game, you've got 10 on the board. Is it a good season? He'll tell you, yeah. And I think we would too. That's a good season.
It's a very good season.
But at the end of the day, you still didn't achieve what you feel like this team is capable of achieving at its highest level.
I mean, we're sitting here talking I think I had a 2-loss team or
2-3 loss.
2 or 3 loss team.
9-10 win team.
You were at
10-2.
10-2. So you're probably right there with me, a 2-3 loss team, anywhere in that range, right? I feel like we would be competing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it comes down to where do those losses fall, right? If it's 3 conference losses, then you're probably not in the conference championship discussion.
Sure.
1, I would say yes. 2, it's, hey, what's kind of happened with some of the teams around you?
Yeah, it does feel like it's going to be a sticky situation, or it's going to wrap up with Memphis has 2 conference losses, SMU has 2 conference losses, and they all kind of like offset each other and do like that wild circle looking thing.
And we have to go to some crazy coin flip tiebreaker.
Yeah, if it comes down to something like that,
Whoever
like,
does
what
the
in
math
world?
multiplication test the quickest or something. Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you what, I am looking forward to drinking all the beers with Ryan after we win the conference title.
For sure. I will say, if it's something that sits in the back of my mind, I don't have the highest expectations for FAU just yet. I think they will be a decent team.
I think they can get there with Herman.
Yeah, I think that Tom Herman's a very good coach. I don't know if it's going to happen year one. Like, I know he has, I think it's Casey Thompson, the Nebraska guy, but they play Tulane, or Tulane is playing at FAU.
The week before?
That's like one of the last games. It goes to Tulane is at FAU and then at UTSA. And it is fantastic that Tulane and UTSA end up playing each other. Because obviously we're not playing UTSA.
Right.
So we have no power. No
and
control
they'll already have one conference loss to us for sure. So
exactly. That you read my mind on where I'm going with that. So there's a chance Tulane could have potentially even 3.
Yeah. But it's like we talked about, that SMU game with us could be a very pivotal, like the winner of that game could ultimately end up hosting. I mean, depending on what happens with UTSA,
what it feels like, right?
Could be the host of the conference championship.
I think what makes this whole season unique as we head into the start of the season is this not the first year in a long time that the AAC doesn't have just like a clear cut best team.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, again, yeah, I think those top 4, literally any one of the 4, and there could be a dark horse out there. I mean, to TJ's point, I mean, FAU could ultimately come in and year 1 make a run, or it could be in East Carolina could be up there. I mean,
Yeah, I'm with you though.
But you know what I mean?
Sure.
There are a true 4. Any one of the 4 could be the champion, and then there could potentially be another dark horse. There could be a Tulane that comes out of nowhere, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you got to think Tulane was projected to finish 7th last year.
yeah, I mean, they're coming off a
Came out
2-10
with the whole
year.
So That's kind of the joy of the American, I guess, if you want to look at it in any positive light right now, is that it's winnable. It's extremely winnable. Kind of looking what you have in there. Like, yes, UTSA has some good things going. Tulane's coming off a championship. SMU is pulling in through the transfer portal really well. And then there's you, and Memphis is building a beautiful roster. They've got a favorable schedule. I mean, I think if you have a very strong year this year, let's say you make it to the conference championship, you don't win, looking forward to next year's season, Trey, I'm not shocked if I would look at their schedule right now and say they would be undefeated in conference next year. I'm not even joking.
Okay. Well, let's handle 2023 first.
This beer is really hitting right now. You know what I mean?
Let's get to that. We got football in 2.5 weeks. Get out to the bowl. We're hearing there's going to be some fan improvement things. I think maybe some new pyro, maybe some adjustments to the Tiger run out.
Yeah.
And some things on Tiger Lane. So look forward to that. I think the official announcement's coming out next week. So the university will be announcing that. But some things to improve from a fan experience at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So get out September 2nd, first game, Bethune-Cookman. TGN will continue to have our preseason talks. We'll probably do, like we said, I think a depth chart look, and then maybe take some questions. We'll answer some questions, do some some superlatives.
Love the superlatives.
We'll have to keep track of that again. Yeah. I think, TJ, you won the beer.
I did win. It's important to note that I won.
Doesn't matter. All right, let's get in this brew.
Cool can. Not going to lie. I like the can a lot. You got the giant weight.
Speaking of can, we totally forgot to rate the sparkling water can with.
It's a sparkling water can.
It wasn't a bad can, though.
Yeah, it's okay.
How about Ryan absolutely hating that drink?
Wow.
It wasn't that
I'm not
great.
sure that he took a sip outside of the first sip.
No, he absolutely didn't. He didn't.
No.
He didn't move one bit.
But he did have a reaction that I have had multiple times on a first sip, where it's kind of like, what is that? So you can't always, and we probably should have said it, you can't always judge it on the first sip. You got to give it another.
You got to give it a couple, because it grew on me personally.
I mean, I finished the whole thing.
I finished mine too. I drank it and I was like, this tastes like pencil shavings. And then I drank another sip because I was so thirsty. I'm like, okay, it's growing on me. And then I crushed the whole thing and I ended up giving it a decent score because I was so thirsty.
Yeah, I mean, it was as hot as it has been. It was refreshing.
It's very refreshing. Jumping into this can, it's a sexy can. We've got some water. I don't know if you guys can see that. We got some water. There's a spear going into a basketball. This is supposed to be the kiwi of Steven Adams. I guess the spear is something they use there.
And the splash of the water is the Ghost River tree.
Yeah, how sick is that?
That is so good. This is a good can, TJ.
There's a lot to
I'm
talk
giving it
about.
to you right now. This is a 7-8 can.
This lane crashing IPA features all new Zealand hops, hint of stone fruits. I don't know what a stone fruit is. And blackberries put on a full court press on your palate thanks to generous late additions of Motuka?
Don't ask me. I can't pronounce anything.
Motuka and Pacific Gem hops. This tasty ale will also have you cleaning the glass, just like number 4. So they don't really hide the Steven Adams aspect of it. I think we can go ahead and get that out of the way. They don't hide that at all.
Yeah, this is Steven Adams beer.
Very cool can. A very cool can from Ghost River, who is normally pretty good at cans, I think. But what'd you say?
7-8.
7.8. That's a good can, and this is a good can. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. Alcohol percentage 6.9. That's nice.
Nice.
I'm gonna say like a 7.5. I do really like this can. I think they did.
You know what? It is the water splash Ghost River tree that does it for me.
I get it. It's a good one. It's a little plain.
It was
It's
so
creative,
creative.
but also plain.
Yeah.
If
It's
that
not.
makes any
It's
sense.
not too much. It's good.
Maybe that's what I mean by plain. Like it's safe. We're not.
They did just enough.
Yeah, they're not throwing on.
It's like the
too
3
much.
Little bears. Not too much, not too little. You're right there. Just
What do you think
right.
about the actual brew itself?
I enjoyed this.
It's pretty
This was
good.
good.
I've never had a New Zealand IPA. Isn't that what it was?
Yeah.
Or just New Zealand hops?
New Zealand
maybe?
hops. No, I thought this was good. I could definitely buy multiple of these. This is not like a one beer kind of thing.
Yeah.
7.5 feels right
Okay.
for me.
Sure. I'm trying not to go the same as my score. I did like it, but I could see where someone would try this and not love it for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely a full court man-to-man press on your palate. But
Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit lower.
I'm
Probably
not
like
scared of a little pressure.
a 7.2, but I could drink many of these for sure. But because I like the hops of it, but there was also something to it that was making me like, man, I wish I could just drink my water right now and clear my mouth.
I'm right. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's malt at this point.
Which is fine. I mean, there's no shame in needing to
No, you got to
supplement.
hydrate, dude. It's hot outside. So. 2 a.m. in the morning, and it's still probably 99 degrees outside.
No, we're actually having a cold front come in. The high tomorrow is only 80. What? Yeah.
Is that serious?
Oh, it's dead serious. The next 2 days? Well, by the time this podcast has come out, they will already have happened. But Tuesday and I think Wednesday, the high is 80 and 83.
Wow.
Got a little cool front
Sign me
coming.
up.
That might be the day y'all need to get out in pads on the training camp field.
I would. Oof, we should. Why did we not
I know, I
film
wanted to
that
run
while
the-
we were there?
I wanted to ask Ryan outright, like, look at this guy right here. Do you think he could catch passes on Greg Rubin?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to like offend you on camera and stuff like that.
Well, I don't, why would that? You already think that I can.
Yeah, but Ryan may humble you, and that could be a situation you don't want to get into.
Ryan might say, you got to get through me before you can get to Greg Rubin. And that's
It was a perfect opportunity to run a 40-yard dash for sure. A cold 40-yard dash.
I wanted to kick a field goal so bad.
Have you ever kicked a field goal? Yeah. It's so hard.
It is so hard.
So hard. So hard.
But I wanted to kick a punt too. Hit the top of the roof.
You're hitting the top of the, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we will be back next week. Like, subscribe, check us out. Get to bluffcitymedia.co. Sign up for the Discord. TJ and Trey for 10% off. Grab a cold beer. Come for this hot takes. We'll see you next week. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.